You know, it's always been a story I've admired and loved as a kid, especially, and it's always been a role that I've loved. And I never thought actually like it would ever happen. There might have come an opportunity once, I think, where I think we were talking about maybe doing West Side in a production somewhere. And I actually did audition for the revival.
Yeah.
Like not the most recent one, but like
20,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I sprained my ankle at the audition. And so I just knew that it wasn't meant to be or like happen, you know? Yeah, like right away sprained but it was never something like I actually fully thought would ever come into fruition.
I'd like to say that Jerome Robbins's choreography broke a lot of ankles. His stuff was impossible and he made you do it till you were gonna die, you thought. Whole different experience, right? Well, yeah, well, you don't know that experience.
At some point, every single one of us is sort of like, no, we never really thought this would happen. And then it does, you know, it's sort of like,
I mean, it's like a weird dream, right? It's like, you know, you wake up from your dream and you're like, yeah, I did this weird thing where I was cast in West Side Story as Rip, but Steven Spielberg and Rita Moreno was in it.
And
like that's a dream. Like that's actually,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was very interested in kind of bringing Tybalt as the Shakespearean character into Bernardo, because Tybalt is an incredible fighter. He's a master with a sword. He's vicious. He has this anger that he can't control, but he also loves his family and he wants to protect his family. So I wanted to make sure that Bernardo kind of resembled that, where yes, he can't control this anger. He's a fighter, but he also loves his family and he wants to protect, and he's just trying to protect his community in the Puerto Rican neighborhood in Manhattan. So I think that was my goal for Bernardo.
And I think for me, you know, we were talking about the place setting of this area in New York, and this being these people's homes and really what's rubble all around them. And on the Jets side, at least, these guys didn't have any real families other than the boys around them. And specific to Riff, the only other person that he really had was Tony. And I think what's amazing about this particular story is this love story, if I'm being biased. I'm saying you're in the way. But this truly codependent relationship of, here is this guy who does not like himself and is trying to actually better himself and change. And Riff's inability to see that, recognize that, or love him enough to let him go until the end, unfortunately. And that's all was written and conceived through Tony, quite frankly. And that was the discussion that we had and the discussion that Tony and I had. And that's really what interested me the most, was this kind of push and pull that these two had. There was one day all the Jets bought roses for all the ladies, Sharks and Jets included.
Very sweet. It was very nice.
We were wonderful.
The Jets were mean to Brian Darcy James, who plays Krupke.
He's in.
I don't think he's inventing that. I think he did not dream it up. I think he's being totally legit.
No.
I think it was your doing, bud.
George Chakiris went into one of those sex stores in LA when he was trying to find a look for the Sharks, or for himself, which also meant the Sharks. And he went into one of those sex stores and he saw those leather bands, wristbands. And I mean, this is just great insight. He bought enough to take care of all of these Sharks. And he had all the guys come in one day to rehearsal wearing these. And Jerry Robbins went nuts. He loved it. And that's how that came to be.
I feel like, yeah, this is totally an ensemble movie, which is why it's such a great movie too. Like, every character has interesting, and a funny story though, and I'm sorry to my other castmates for this, but the first time we saw the movie, all of us were sitting in the car. We were all like, you know, we're sitting in the car together, kind of quiet, and being like, damn.
Catatonic stare, yeah.
Like, that movie was amazing, and you guys are so amazing. Yeah. But I'm kind of the weakest link, aren't I?
Oh,
what- but-
no.
That's what we all said.
I'm the weakest link. No, I'm the weakest link.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah,
made
it
us
was
feel
bad.
better
We
about it.
fought
Okay,
each
yeah,
other
yeah.
about it.
I can't believe you felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all
Oh
felt
my
that way about
God.
ourselves.
And
yeah.
what a voice.
No.
You believe that voice is coming out of this person?
No.
But really, everyone is like does a really good job in this film. I can't be prouder than I've never been so proud to be in a movie in my life. And the ensemble, the cast is we all did a really good job.
Yeah.
Here, here.
But I want to say, like Tony Kushner gave Ansel so much more to work with
So
than
much
I think in
more.
the other. Like, here's a guy who went to prison for a year for committing a very serious crime
Yeah.
and is coming back to try to that's complicated.
Yeah.
And he's going back to the place where he
Yeah.
did those things with the people
Where he's
that
in danger.
Yes, and he's constantly having to change while being in the middle of this tornado, and
And bears his soul too to a complete stranger at the cloisters. And you tell Maria that you did this thing and you went to jail and now you're back and all of these things where he just explains all of it in this word vomit type. It's incredible.
You have a way with words.
No, that's Tony.
Word vomit.
I came into that process as the weakest dancer out of this group of incredible dancers. And I also want to give a lot of credit to Harrison Cole, who's like an amazing dancer with the New York City Ballet. He was the dance captain, and he would, before rehearsal, after
marvelous.
rehearsal, come with me, go over steps in the most positive way, rooting for me, wanting me to be great. Actually,
Your childhood friends, right?
we went to lower school together, and we were in ballet school together before I dropped out. And he went on to become a professional ballet dancer.
What you could have been.
But yeah, I mean, we that was also a great opportunity for us to bond because we spent months rehearsing that, different iterations changing. And I felt like as we became more comfortable with the language, with that dance language, Justin kept boosting it up and making it bigger and better. And then once we got onto set with it, to have the set to play with, which was a built set, but in a real location on a pier was, and then also the dynamic of like what the scene meant for each other. And that first it's a game, then it gets like, when a game gets out of hand, and when it gets taken too far.
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting part about that dance was the storytelling aspect of it, of here are these guys that are brothers, and it starts as this kind of cat and mouse game. And as the dance continues, you really start to see the hurt on both sides and the change that everyone's dealing with and trying to navigate. It was a real thrill to put together.
Did you do a set with holes in it? That you could
Yeah.
really fall through for real fall through? Because they were real holes? This is
Yeah.
not what they call
I
jeans.
I was very stressed watching it.
Yeah,
It's
it's stressful
stressful
to watch.
it's
Not well.
stressful to watch it because there were these big
Yeah.
gaping holes in this pier
Not to
or
mention
wharf.
the gun in and of itself is its own
Yeah,
character.
they're throwing a gun
I
around.
was like, guys.
Can't we just talk?
I was very, very unwell.